Hi guys, welcome to another video where I share everything that I know to help you be your best self. And today we're talking about consistency and how to be consistent. You might find that you're really consistent in one area of your life and you can't figure out why you can't translate to the other areas that you'd like to be consistent in. Or maybe you feel all across the board you have a really hard time being consistent, maybe with some goals that you're trying to achieve or certain things that you know that if you were consistent and did these things in the frequency that you need to, that the future you could be someone completely different. And it can be frustrating, right? So I want to share a couple things with you today to help out with that. One is a process that goes on in our brain that you might be completely unaware of that can seriously sabotage our efforts with being consistent. And also 3 steps that you can take that collectively in less than 60 seconds can really shift that to help you be more consistent. So we talk a lot about new neural pathways that you can create, new healthy habits and new behaviors that you're trying to establish in your life. And I want to talk to you today about a reward pathway. There's a certain area in our brain that has this circuitry that helps us kind of translate motivation into action, or in the case that we're talking about today, inaction, or the lack of the consistency in taking the action that we need to. And there's some different things that will influence those choices that we make. And one of them is related to the reward that we would get, because we get a benefit, we get some kind of reward for the actions that we take. Any habit loop you've ever studied, you always know that there's a reward piece of that. And how it works is this: the further out that reward or that benefit is, the more likely we might be tempted to take a more immediate reward today, even though it might be far less valuable. Like, for example, say that you just out of the blue received $1,000 today. Now, you didn't need the money and you weren't expecting the money. And all of a sudden you have this opportunity, now you have $1,000. Now you know you can take that $1,000 and you can spend it and you do anything you want with it today. Or you know there might be an option that you can invest that, and 10 years down the line you could have $10,000. Or maybe it's not even that far, maybe it's only 5 years out and you could receive $5,000. You know what a lot of people would do is they would choose the more immediate reward of $1,000 even though it's far less valuable. It's called delay discounting. And it's something that can really get in the way of us being consistent and taking the actions that we need to today. So another example of this delay discounting would be, say that there's a workout that you know, or just moving more, and you know if you did that consistently, you would just feel a lot better 30 days from now, or how far ever out it might be. The problem that might be where it comes into play here is that reward today is probably not going to be there with regards to the big payoff that we want for doing that, right? It'll take more than that one exercise. So the Netflix binge may win out because that seems like, oh yeah, that sounds like a lot more fun, right? Even though we know it's far less valuable to watch the television show, or maybe with food choices. And this is why I can help explain to you guys why you can have everything planned out. You can have a meal plan that you're ready to roll on, you buy all of the groceries, and then they all just go bad in your fridge. Or you have paid somebody to create a perfect workout plan for you, and you have it there in front of you, but you can't seem to get yourself to take action on it, because the more immediate reward is going to be more attractive, even though we know it's not going to help us meet our goal. And that, again, that could be spending, or that could be an eating goal, or anything related to career, anything that you feel like you've been procrastinating on and you keep putting it off. And now we think we're going to do it tomorrow, right? We say that, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and of course we don't. And we just keep moving that goalpost further and further away. Or it's a lot easier to get the field goal when the goalpost is closer, right? But I want you to know that this is pretty much human nature. That this is the way a lot of us are just wired, and I don't want you to, be hard on yourself or feel any kind of shame with that. Especially when we look at where we are today, it's because of behaviors that we did in the past, right? And we know that there are certain sacrifices that we're going to have to do today for a better tomorrow. So I want to help you out with that. Now there's 3 steps here, and the first one might seem really insignificant, but it's going to be the catalyst to everything else. It's going to be the most important. And what that is now that you know about this bias that we have for the present reward, even though it's not really that valuable, you can recall that and recognize it when it's happening. And it might take you a few times to recognize when it is. But if you never knew that was going on, that process can happen so fast, and it just really keeps sabotaging you day after day after day. So say now you're sitting there on the couch, you really want to watch this Netflix show, you really haven't gotten your workout in, and you recall what we talked about here today, and you're like, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know how I'm working right now and sabotaging against my goal to move more. What you can do then, you guys, This is important. So the second step, what you've done just by inserting that pause and recognizing, oh, this is what I'm doing, is you now have a space that you've created between what you're feeling right now and what you're going to do with those feelings. And that space is going to be able to help you pivot into being more consistent and taking the action instead of that more immediate reward. But how would we do that? So again, the first step was, okay, oops, I know what I'm doing now. Second step is taking advantage. You've got that space between what you're feeling and what you do with those feelings. What I'm going to tell you is a little bit more unconventional, probably an approach you haven't tried before. But what I recommend that you do is you start tapping into and recognizing that the benefit of today's action is benefiting a future you, right? That future you, that even if it's just the future you tomorrow, is inheriting everything you did or didn't do today. And how I use this in my own life is I'm 52 years old. And so maybe it comes to spending or saving, and I look at my behavior in the moment. I might be tempted to do something while I'll receive this immediate reward. But then I think about 62-year-old Berta that wants to retire. Or maybe I don't really want to get a workout in, or I don't want to eat a certain way, or whatever it might be. And how I'm able to stay consistent is I think about 90-year-old Berta, 90-year-old me. I love her. I want to help her. And I know that the only way that I can do that if I consistently take the actions that I need to now, so that as I age, I can be independent, because that's important to me and that's my goal. And I'm asking you to kind of tap in, and the same thing for you. If you're your 90-year-old self and you're able to look back at all of these previous versions of you and the actions that you did or didn't take, and I'd want you to be compassionate, by the way, because again, we're all sitting here today because of the actions we did or didn't take before. But you guys, here's where self-compassion, self-respect, self-love can really come into play and really turn the tide in helping you become consistent. So I really want you to be able to look at those future versions of yourself, like I said, even if it's just tomorrow, and recognize that something maybe really small that you did today made a pretty big difference for the you of tomorrow. So for example, let's say something super, super simple. Let's say that you are someone who procrastinates doing the dishes or keeping your kitchen clean and tidy, but you absolutely love and you thrive when it is. Then you tend to eat better, or you just wake up and you're in a better mood and you make your coffee and you go about your day something totally different than the way you might experience if you got up to something that's all messy and just disorganized and you're now facing those dishes or that dirty kitchen. Super small, right? But that you that made the choice today to be able to keep a consistently clean, tidy kitchen knows how that's going to help you in that version you are tomorrow. Now this might seem a little out there, I'm not sure. I'm really hoping that this video lands in front of the right people, because you might be like me, that you guys getting to this point where I sit here and I say, I love that 90-year-old Berta and I want to help her, has been a journey. And it's not that I necessarily hated myself before or I didn't love myself before, but for the past decade or so I've been in a really heavy caretaking role. And the thing is I don't think that's just me. I think a lot of you are probably like me, where you are willing to make these sacrifices pretty easy for somebody else, right? You know that maybe you have a buddy who is moving, they need your help, and so you're willing to put the Netflix show down and go out and help them and come back and maybe watch that later. Are you willing to do that for yourself now? So it can be a journey, you guys. This can be really foreign, where we put ourselves in that position where we do look at a future version of ourselves and care about them and love them enough that we want to be able to help them and do things that we can today. So I want to help you use this self-compassion as a tool and be able to recognize that what it is that's going on really isn't your fault. It's how we're wired. And they can make some changes in our life by looking at things differently, by taking those 3 steps to be able to change the consistency of the things that we're doing each day. So I hope that you found this helpful. If you enjoy content like this, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. You might also want to join my VIP list. It's free, and you can join us at bertavip.com, where on the first of every month I send content like this direct to your inbox. It's just my way of giving back, and I truly want to help people become their best self, and that's one avenue that I use to do that. So thank you guys so much for letting me share this with you, and I'll see you next time.